Everything you need to know about Survivor Season 43, Episode 1. Careful for any spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet. If you're new to the channel, after every episode of Survivor, I like to talk about the key moments that are found and give my thoughts. Also, I'm bringing back the Survivor buff giveaway this season. If you want to win the buff, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel down below, like the video, and comment who you think the winner of the season is going to be. We're doing Survivor buff giveaways all season long, but make sure to come back next week as we'll be announcing our first winner. Let's get started with number 36, Survivor is back. This opening couple minutes was actually teased a few days ago online, so I'm guessing most of you that are watching this video right now had already seen the preview. But as always, these opening moments of Survivor premieres are always super epic. And I mean, it's Survivor 43, drop the 1 and the 2, keep the 3. The editors are having a little bit of fun here in this opening moment. We get some epic drone shots that I want to talk about more later in the video because they are super epic. We have Sami with his multiple job titles as a 19-year-old, and Owen Knight living his Survivor superfan dream actually getting his opening credits. And on Twitter, we see Survivor David vs. Goliath player Christian Hibicki talk about how they blurred out a cameraman on the boat. Number 35, mat chat. Those first few seconds getting off the boat onto the mat, Ellie's freaking out about actually being here on Survivor. Jeff Probst is standing right in front of her, and to be honest, everyone's freaking out at this moment. It shows how meta and self-aware the whole Survivor community is, that they can spend the first 10 minutes of the show talking about how much Survivor players and Survivor fans love the Survivor show. Number 34, the reward. It's a little similar to that opening challenge we saw in Survivor 42, you know, race down the beach and bring back 2 heavy crates, race in the water, pulling a boat with more crates, use those crates to form a cube, and stand on the cube to get a flint down. Only one of the 3 tribes is going to end up winning the challenge, and their reward for winning is a pot, a machete, and a flint. Number 33, the reward challenge. Ryan from the blue tribe is in an early lead, rushing into the jungle, but Sami from the yellow tribe comes out of the jungle first in another epic drone shot. We see Gio from the blue tribe struggle a little bit picking the crates up, but that doesn't really matter as the blue tribe ends up finishing the puzzle first. Lindsay goes to try and get the flint out, but in disappointing fashion, she kind of chokes in this situation. The yellow and red tribe catch up, and now it's everyone racing to try and get the flint off the hook first. The red tribe, or the Bessie tribe, ends up winning with Cody giving a really big brain move, putting the piece of bamboo in the flint and just dragging it across. And we get this hilarious tweet from Eric about the moment. Number 32, Bessie after the reward. Not too important right now, but it might become important later in the season, but Cody's a newer-ish fan of the show from the Netflix era of the show, the pandemic era, just binging through. And I like that. It's kind of nice not to have all superfan, die-hard, been watching since day 1 on the season. We're gonna have to enjoy those few little minutes we spend with this Bessie red tribe. Because they win the reward challenge and win the immunity challenge a little later in the episode, we don't get to spend much time with them. But I think it's pretty obvious off the start that Dwight's a fish out of water. He's reminding me a lot of JD from Survivor 41. Number 31, Sweat versus Savvy. Same, but a little different from Survivor 41 and Survivor 42. If you have smart or even decently smart people on your tribe, I think it's always best to pick the Savvy option. The Sweat option is just gonna burn you out on day 1 of Survivor, and no one wants to be isolated from the rest of the group on the very first day. The Savvy option ends up being a brain teaser where you only have one chance to pick some bones together to figure out the biggest number. And the Sweat option is where you get 2 players to dig up a big piece of sand to try and find your supplies. We know it ends up happening, but I'm hoping in Survivor 44, one of these tribes ends up losing the Sweat versus Savvy challenge. Number 30, Baka is Savvy. We're gonna hear it all throughout the episode. Sami's 19 years old, he's just a kid. He wants to play it up, that he's physically strong, he's there for the tribe. He doesn't want them to know how smart he really is. But Owen wants him to chill out and not volunteer to do it because he doesn't want to do the Sweat challenge. When they end up picking the Savvy challenge, pull the rug, see all the bones, I felt instant regret from this tribe because this felt like a really hard challenge. Sami was able to big brain it right away, discovering that you should make more than 4 numbers. Janine does a little fix, and just like that, they're able to solve it correctly, and we get this hilarious tweet about Sami, the pet cremator, about bones. Number 29, Coco is gonna sweat. Ryan, the personal trainer on this blue tribe, wants to prove himself and is gonna do the sweaty challenge. James instantly says no right away, he doesn't want to do it, but Gio ends up actually feeling bad for that reward challenge not being able to pick up the crates and says he'll do it with Ryan. Again, tons of big brains on Survivor 43. Ryan talks about just drawing an X in the sand and that'll be the best way to do it. Well, it turns out it was the best way to do it because they finished this challenge in under 30 minutes. Number 28, Ryan Flashback. This is gonna be the first of a couple flashbacks we get this episode, but basically Ryan was born 3 months early and that affects him physically and mentally. I don't want to get any hate for this. This is an awesome story and I guarantee Ryan's gonna be a fan favorite player, but especially when you add on all the other flashbacks we get throughout the episode, it almost feels like you need a thing to be cast on Survivor nowadays. Number 27, Baka celebrates. Sami's feeling good in this situation, winning the challenge for his tribe, and decides to lie about his age because no one's gonna vote for a 19-year-old to win Survivor, and honestly 22 years old is believable. I think he has it, whatever it is, to be a good Survivor player. My only issue is I think he decided to play Survivor a couple of years too early, and that immaturity of being 19 years old, especially with losing his cool a little bit in the immunity challenge, is gonna rub off on people. Number 26, Bessie full of strategy. I could be wrong because they won this reward challenge and they win the immunity challenge a little bit later in the episode, but I don't think it's gonna be one of those situations where they just win out until the merge. They're gonna lose at some point. We see an early bond form between Justine and Noelle just because being similar in age, and at the same time we see NECA, Jesse, and Cody go off together to strategize. I can already tell this is gonna be the game bodiest or the most strategy heavy tribe out of all three this season. NECA talks about how the game's afoot, which is an awesome shout out to Survivor 1 world player Tarzan. Cody comes up with this really bizarre strategy of targeting Justine for being a salesperson, even though he's a salesperson as well. It's super chaotic. I don't know if there really is any truth to that about salespeople being really good at Survivor, but it doesn't matter because Cody pulls this off but then tells the camera privately that he's a salesperson as well. And then we cut back to Jesse saying, yeah, salespeople are scary. At least none of us are salespeople. We continue with Jesse a little bit as he gives a really relatable quote about parties and says he's in the middle of alliances between Noelle and Justine and NECA and Cody. With literally no talk of Dwight, I'm really worried about him if they ever go to tribal council. Number 25, Baka shelter building. Being a super fan of Survivor, Owen was really hoping that shelter building was just a code word for strategizing. But no, this tribe actually wanted to build a shelter. Owen finally convinces Gabler to go off to get some water with him, and then he slides in that line, I got you if you got me, and Gabler awkwardly declines the invitation to strategize. Owen talks about how it might bite this tribe in the butt later on in the game how they're refusing to strategize. I don't know, maybe a little bit of foreshadowing about how Owen's game's gonna play out. Number 24, Ellie Flashback. We get another flashback. This one's gonna be from Ellie from this yellow tribe. A super heartfelt story about how she lost her sister a couple years ago due to an overdose. Not specifically from this flashback, but throughout the entire episode, we can just tell that Ellie will be a power player this season. She's leading the season right now with the most confessionals. She got 10 confessionals this episode. Number 23, girl power on Baka. Honestly, this moment's not gonna be that important. We don't need to throw it in here. I just think it's hilarious how right after the Ellie moment, the girls come together, say, hey, girl power, let's stick together. This girl power alliance literally falls apart before the episode finishes. Number 22, Coco Strategy. We get a confessional from Cassidy Clark, who I predict will be an early boot this season. I really want to talk about this because it's an animal metaphor, and the expert on animal metaphors is this guy right here, Omar. We see Lindsay want to develop a girls alliance over here on the blue tribe, and then rope James into the alliance so they have the majority of 4 people. Number 21, James Flashback. We love to see it. This flashback we get from James is not a sob, heartfelt story. It's actually a positive story about he's a master of chess and how he's gonna play Survivor like a king, but he wants to be perceived as the pawn. Number 20, Baka attempting fire. It needs to be said, Sami's a little bit of a psychopath. I just have so many questions about this kid, how a 19-year-old becomes a pet cremator. He goes off about how as a pet cremator, he's not physically killing the pets, he's just slowly and gently placing them into the fire. But then seconds later talks about how, like a shih tzu, throwing them into the incinerator, he knows a thing or two about starting a fire. This whole thing is just so mind-blowing to me. It doesn't end up turning into too much, but I sense that Mike is a little jealous that he wasn't the one starting the fire and Sami was. I think the producers are planting a seed about a rivalry between Sami and Mike here. We get this little bickering about the fire, and later in the episode, during the immunity challenge, they're gonna bicker again. Number 19, Baka Strategy. We got 2 words here, Mike and Ellie. They're bonding over metal, punk music, and really this just summarizes Survivor on day 1, finding anything that connects you to another person, as secretly Ellie's not gonna tell Mike this, but she's not a fan of heavy metal music. Number 18, Carla connecting with her tribe. We get a nice bonding moment between Carla and Gio about both being gay and both being Latino, but it doesn't stop there as they turn this bond into an alliance. But it doesn't stop there either, as Carla ends up forming an alliance with literally everyone on the tribe, and I think she does it by accident. Look, no doubt about it, because of physical strength, Carla could be in trouble early on in the game, but because of how well she's connecting with everyone on the tribe, if she makes it through the first couple of rounds, I think she's gonna be a big threat later on. We got Carla right down the middle, having an alliance with Gio and Ryan, and also having an alliance with James, Lindsay, and Cassidy. Number 17, Bessie Tattoos. Not super important about the game, but it's gonna lead into our next point, so I thought I might as well leave this in. We find out Cody's got living tattooed on his butt, but more importantly, we find out that Jesse used to have face tattoos. And that leads into number 16, Jesse Flashback. I'm really surprised that Jesse comes off super humble in this situation, and I don't know if shy is the right word to use, but he also comes off a little shy, or maybe even a little soft-spoken. The story is, he was in juvie, took his GED test, ended up getting the highest score they've ever seen, goes off to school, eventually gets his PhD, meaning this is the true definition of book smart meets street smart. Number 15, Bessie attempting fire. Super awkward. Bessie was the first tribe to get Flint. They won the reward challenge minutes into the game, and they still haven't started a fire. Justine's super motivated. She wants to get this fire going, but then in one crazy event after another, the shelter falls over. Justine gets the fire going, and the fire goes out again. Justine will get her happy story about the fire a little bit later. Number 14, boat arrives. Everyone's seen Survivor 41 and Survivor 42. We have a sense that the Shipwheel Island will be returning right here. It turns out it's gonna be a little bit different, but I love how every tribe chooses who's gonna go on the adventure a different way. On the Bessie tribe or the Red tribe, we have Dwight being a super fan of Survivor, just volunteering to go. He can't help himself. The Yellow tribe or the Baka tribe play a fun little game where they all throw their fingers out. Whatever number lands on 43, that's the person that's going. It ends up being Mike Gabler. On the Blue tribe, we have Lindsay talk about how she just wants the opportunity to play Survivor, giving a lot of foreshadowing to maybe a 0-vote finalist. Anyways, the tribe ends up picking numbers between 1 and 20, and Carla ends up going. Number 13, Risky Rock Adventure. Drop your expectations. This is different than Survivor 41 and Survivor 42. No more climbing up a mountain. This is a game changer. Now you gotta get in the water and walk to a rock. Honestly, this felt a little unsafe to me, but shout out to Peridium for naming this Risky Rock. Number 12, Carla Flashback. Similar in a sense to the story we got from Jesse a little bit ago. She's the first person from her family to graduate from high school and from college, meaning we got another player this season that's got the street smart and the book smart. Number 11, Risky Rock Explained. I had to rewind it and play it back a couple times. I was confused the first time it was explained to us. I'm going to attempt to explain it a little bit better here. Unlike the previous 2 seasons, this time everyone knows what everyone's decision is going to be. You can either choose no risk or risk, and if you choose no risk, nothing happens to you, you're good to go. If you choose risk, you have the chance of winning an advantage, but the odds change depending how many people pick risk. If you're the only person that picks risk, then you're guaranteed that advantage, boom. But if 2 people pick risk, you're gonna draw from the number 2 bag, someone's gonna get the advantage and someone's gonna lose their vote. Same idea with the number 3 bag. If everyone picks risk, you're gonna draw from that bag, 1 person's getting the advantage and 2 people are gonna lose their vote. Although at first glance this is really confusing, I like it. I like how the tribes are still gonna be interacting together. I just wonder how this will be affected in future episodes if we only have 2 people going to Risky Rock. Number 10, Risky Rock Decision. We've talked about this in previous videos, but I think episode 1, during these small tribes, you always say risk. These early votes are almost always unanimous, meaning losing your vote really won't have an impact. And the same rules end up applying it again tonight at Tribal Council. It was a 5-to-1 vote. We get Gabler risking it, we get Dwight risking his vote as well, and as a super fan, this guy was always gonna risk his vote. And then we get Carla not risking her vote. I still think in episode 1, the best decision is to risk your vote no matter what. I think in this one situation with Carla, it makes the most sense to not risk it because she's in the middle of 2 different alliances. Number 9, Bessie struggling with Flint. We see Cody literally bleeding to try and get this fire going. We get this awesome confessional from Justine about when she puts her mind to something, she often can't fall asleep until she gets it done. I felt that on a personal level, so it felt so awesome for her when she finally got the fire going. Number 8, Risky Rock Return. Just as Justine from the Bessie tribe gets the fire going, we have these Risky Rock players return. It's crazy how evolved and game-changing Survivor is, that these players know for sure there was a chance at an advantage, so you can't really lie in this situation. On the Bessie tribe, the Red tribe, Dwight ends up telling the truth, but Cody doesn't believe him at all. On the Baka tribe, the Yellow tribe, Gabler tells the truth, and he yells in excitement when he finds out he got the hidden immunity idol. We gotta slow down here, so much to talk about. First of all, we're now giving idols out on the adventure instead of just extra votes. Idols are way more powerful. Secondly, I really wish Mike didn't tell his tribe about the idol. He should have just told his tribe, yeah, I got an extra vote, boom, yay, not an idol. An idol is way more powerful. And then thirdly, Dwight tells everyone he lost his vote. With him being on the outs with his tribe, this puts him in a really weak spot if they ever lose a challenge. And talking about hidden immunity idols, I'm on the road to pass Russell Hance, the king of hidden immunity idols, in subscribers. If you're enjoying this video so far, please hit that subscribe button down below. We are so close to 5,000 subscribers, and when we get there, I'm gonna make a video on the downfall of Russell Hance. Anyway, number 7, immunity Matt Chat. I kind of think Jeff Probst forgot he can break the 4th wall and talk to us directly. That didn't happen this episode. It's a classic challenge. You gotta race through a series of obstacles, collect 3 balls. One player digs under a log and releases a ramp. You work together to get everyone over the ramp, across a balance beam, but you can untie the balance beam to make it a little bit easier. The first tribe to get through it gets the choice of a maze. You need to land 3 balls in the maze to win the challenge. But in a big twist to me that I didn't see coming, the top 2 tribes to finish the challenge get immunity. This is a change up from Survivor 41 and Survivor 42, where we had 2 people go home in the first episode. I like it, slower pace, slow things down. I'm always down for longer episodes of Survivor. Number 6, immunity challenge. The idea of the 3 choices for the table maze actually came from Dalton Ross's daughter. Anyways, I got a little bit of problems with this Baka tribe saying Mariah was the weakest here. First of all, Janine wasted a lot of time being stuck under that log. Sami and Gabler choked that final maze, arguing the entire time, ultimately showing Sami's age there, how he doesn't know how to lose. But more importantly, Mariah doesn't fail the challenge at all. She gets to cross the balance beam. She does her job perfectly. I don't know, I like this entire cast. I would have been upset no matter who who went home. I just didn't like the reasoning behind what happens a little bit later. Coco comes in first, Bessie comes in second, and this Baka tribe is going to tribal council. Number 5, Gabler goes full Zane. That's right, Zane from Survivor Philippines. Marianne makes the comparison on Twitter. Something about how he doesn't want to take the easy way out with an idol. It's his fault they lost, so he's going to use this shot in the dark. He should be in trouble tonight. And he talks about how people at home won't understand his thought process here. And you're right, I don't understand this thought process here, Gabler. You're pulling a Zane. I don't know what's going on. Number 4, Ellie in driver's seat. Ellie's not interested in voting Gabler out. They need him around camp. Personally, I thought going into tribal council it was going to be either Sami or Janine, but Ellie says Mariah is going to be the one to go, and whatever Ellie says goes here. Number 3, Mariah tries to flip. Obviously, Mariah needs to choose to vote someone else. She can't vote for herself. She feels close with Sami, doesn't want to vote for Gabler, so she decides Owen should be the one to go. I don't think Owen would make any sense here either, and I'd be really sad if Owen did go home. Number 2, tribal council. The tribal council set was really intense, and I love the music behind it, but I almost felt like the tribal council itself was a little bit meh. These players are too smart now. They're not going to give anything away about how they're voting at tribal council. When Jeff asked Owen that first question, what happens when your fire's gone? The answer is, so are you. I thought for sure that was some foreshadowing. Owen was going to be voted out. But number 1, Mariah voted out. I always feel so bad for that first boot of the season, and it felt nice they gave Fiji a special thanks at the very end. Remember to come back next week if you won the Survivor buff, and click right here for my Survivor 43 boot list prediction.